Update the standings right now. Philadelphia 10-1. So they have all but clinched the NFC East. They do it officially if they win tonight. All they have to do is win one game, where Dallas loses one game, and they are in. In the West, the Rams are 9-3. The Seahawks can go to 8-4. The Seahawks have already beaten the Rams once this year, and they get them here in 2 weeks. So a tight race in the NFC West. Doug Peterson going against Pete Carroll. And the tradition here, the 12s. There is the actor Chris Pratt, native of Seattle, raising the flag. And that always gets a tremendous response. They've been doing this for years here in Seattle. Place is already rocking tonight. You know about Seattle. You know about Kansas City. The two venues fight it out for which is louder. I'm calling it a toss-up. Jake Elliott will kick off as Philadelphia won the toss and the Eagles have deferred. Elliott took over after Caleb Sturgis was hurt on opening day. Tyler Lockett, and that's a good average, 25.9 running back kicks. And off we go on this Sunday night with the temperature at 45 degrees. And Lockett from about 4 yards in the end zone will bring the ball out to the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the Seahawks starters.
Russell Wilson from a whole pack of Badgers.
Mike Davis, Stevenson High School.
Doug Baldwin, Stanford University.
Paul Richardson, Sarah High School.
Tyler Lockett, Kansas State.
Jimmy Graham, the U.
Dwayne Brown, Virginia Tech.
Luke Jokel, Texas A&M.
Justin Britt, LHS, MIZ.
Ethan Posick, LSU.
Jermaine Ifedi, Giga Maggies.
Up front, they're settling down. At running back, it's a mix and match. And right now they open up with 5 wide on the first play. And now they bring Mike Davis into the backfield. And Wilson will keep it with an escort out in front behind Nick Vanette, who provides the blocking on the play. It's a gain of 7 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
Yeah, Al, don't you think this is a little product of the slow starts that Russell Wilson's been getting off to? They've been meeting about it a lot as coaches and just trying to figure out how to get him playing in the first quarter the way he's been playing in the second half and especially the fourth quarter.
And you don't want to start slow against these guys. You look at Wilson's numbers, 92 straight starts. He started his first game as a rookie, 3rd longest streak by a quarterback. As McKissick is now in the game, sets up in the slot. The pass is caught. That's a 1st down, and a lot more for Tyler Lockett as he works his way all the way up to the 41-yard line. Jalen Mills, he ran around Mills to pick up the 1st down to gain of 15.
Well, they're using some motion right now to determine whether it's man or zone. They've been putting McKissick in motion. Knows right now it's man coverage, so he comes down to that little Peyton Manning underneath route, and they're off to a hot start.
From the 42-yard line. Wilson, he's going to take off. He's their leading rusher. He takes the ball out to the 45-yard line. Wilson this season 401 yards and averaging 6.2 yards per carry. All of the other running backs compositely average 3.2.
Pete Carroll knows what he has in his quarterback. It's a completely unique situation. So many times they have a play called in the huddle, and after about 2.5 seconds, that play goes away. And then it's sort of all on Russell Wilson to find a way to make this offense work.
That was only a 2-yard gain, which took him from 6'2" down to 6'1" for the moment. Wilson, that deep drop, keeps his eyes downfield. Spinning away. He's so adept at that, and then throws, and it's caught by the down marker by Vanette. Nick Vanette had a touchdown last week at San Francisco. Vinny Curry was chasing Wilson on the play, and it will be 3rd down and 8.
You might see this move, this spin out backwards by both these quarterbacks tonight, and then it is simply game on. One of the huge advantages that the Eagles have in this game is their ability to get after the quarterback. Unfortunately, beating the offensive lineman doesn't mean much because you still have to catch Russell Wilson.
3rd and 7. They go empty again. Four-man rush. To the outside he goes. Caught. And that will be a first down. Doug Baldwin, their leading receiver. That moves the chains, and we take a look at the Eagle D.
Brandon Graham, Michigan.
Fletcher Cox, Yazoo City High School.
Timmy Jernigan, Florida State. Vinnie Curry, Marshall.
Michael Kendricks, Cal.
Najee Good, West Virginia.
Nigel Bradham, the Florida State University.
Jalen Mills, LSU.
Malcolm Jenkins, the Ohio State University.
Rodney McLeod, the University of Virginia.
Ronald Darby, Florida State.
Jim Schwartz has done a great job with that defense. Now on the ground, this is Mike Davis for a gain of 1. So Jim Schwartz was with Jeff Fisher for a lot of years in Tennessee, was the head coach in Detroit for 5 years, went to Buffalo for 1 year, and when Rex Ryan's staff got fired, he worked in the league office for a year. And then Doug Peterson, when he got the job, said the first call as a defensive coordinator went out to Jim Schwartz. He said, yeah, sounds good to me.
Drove down from New York to Philadelphia and accepted the job.
2nd and 9. Davis, a little bit of a hole that closes very quickly. To the Philadelphia 42 he goes. You know, Chris, you take a look at Philadelphia, their hot starts. They have not given up a touchdown in the first quarter this season, and they've outscored the opposition 78-18.
And I think where it really starts for this team is running the ball and stopping the run. They're #1, allowing just 65 rushing yards per game, and that puts a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson in the passing game in these 3rd down situations.
Luke Wilson sets up in the slot to the right here. Wilson going empty again on the 3rd and 5, and it's caught, and that's another first down to Paul Richardson. Oft injured throughout his career, but healthy this year and having a good season.
We're going to play this one lurk coverage where this guy can go either direction, but if Russell Wilson gets this slant out of his hands quickly enough, that lurk guy sitting in the middle, a non-factor. Good move on the outside by Richardson, who's played very well this year.
Opening drive. This will be the 9th play. They picked up 3 first downs from the Philly 34-yard line. Wilson fires a little too high, and is it picked off at the 25-yard line, just off the ground? It hit the ground. Malcolm Jenkins trying to get away with it, but the ball bounced off the turf intended for McKissick. 2nd down.
Pass. 2nd down.
Let's take a look. Not much argument. A one hopper. Any shortstop would have been proud of that one. For Pete Carroll, probably had to catch his breath a little after that one. You see number 21 in the backfield, J.D. McKissick. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to treat him like a wide receiver. He was a wide receiver in college, so a lot of dime defense from them tonight.
And on cue, he sets up as a wide receiver. And Wilson fires incomplete to the near side, intended there for Richardson. Wilson goes to the ground. It'll be 3rd down and 10 for Seattle.
Yeah, and one of the exciting things for Seahawk fans is the fact that Dwayne Brown now playing that left tackle position. They really had been a bit disjointed on that offensive line, but since he's come over, just a huge difference for this bunch.
Not allowing a first quarter TD in the first 11 games. You have to go back 15 years when the Giants did that. So Seattle plays very often from behind early in games, and Philadelphia normally has the lead. 3rd and 10. And they give it to Davis, and he'll get them to the 29-yard line into field goal range as Michael Kendricks makes the tackle, and Blair Walsh will come out to try to make it 3-0.
Yeah, I think you hit on it, Al. They were right on the fringe of field goal range, wanted to ensure a good opportunity, get off to a good start, and we'll see how Blair Walsh handles this one.
You know, Walsh is only 6 of 11. He's missed 5 in the last 4 games. 46-yard attempt. Ryan to put it down, and Walsh's kick is perfect. Opening drive results in a 3-0 Seattle lead on Sunday Night Football. Well, they brought the celebrations back to the NFL this year, and both of these teams taking full advantage. Saw the electric slide last week when Philly beat Chicago.
You ever done that? Go to a wedding, do a little electric slide?
Only very late at night. Kickoff taken at the 2-yard line by Barner. Kenyon Barner cutting it back. Good run back. And Barner will get taken down, but a flag is down up at the 41 where he's tackled. The flag is down back at the 24. Tony Correnti, we will hear from him for the first time tonight. And they'll push this one back, as they almost always do on returns these days.
During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 10-yard penalty, first down.
Whatever number. Let's take a look right now at the Eagle offense.
Carson Wentz, North Dakota State University.
LeGarrette Blunt, Oregon.
Alshon Jeffrey, South Carolina.
Nelson Aguilar, Southern Cal.
Torrey Smith, Maryland.
Zach Ertz, Stanford.
Halapoulivaati Vaitai, TCU.
Stefan Wisniewski, Penn State.
Jason Kelsey, Cincinnati.
Brandon Brooks, Miami University.
Lane Johnson, Oklahoma.
Crowd already full volume from the 10-yard line after the penalty, and Wentz fires to the outside, caught, and then falling down is Torrey Smith. Gain of 5. You look at Wentz's numbers, they are all sensational. Except completion is fair, but he throws deep a lot. Look at the yardage. The TDs lead the league, only 5 interceptions. The rating up among the leaders, and he can run.
Yeah, he can. Third down, red zone. Amazing for a young quarterback.
Second year at a North Dakota State. Sets up under center on a 2nd and 4. Ball is given to LeGarrette Blunt, who earned a Super Bowl ring last year at New England. Gain of 1 as we take a look at the Seattle defense.
Michael Bennett, Alief Taylor High School.
Jaron Reed, Alabama.
Sheldon Richardson, Mizzou.
Frank Clark, Michigan.
Michael Will Hoyt, Washburn University.
Bobby Wagner, the Utah State.
KJ Wright, Mississippi State.
Aaron Maxwell, Clemson.
Bradley McDougal, Kansas University.
Earl Thomas, DBU, Texas.
Shaquille Griffin, Central Florida.
Only Earl Thomas remains from the Legion of Boom. Sherman and Chancellor no longer a part of it, at least for the balance of this year. 3rd down and 2. Play clock at 2 when Wentz drops the ball. And he's going to take off, and there he goes, sliding to a stop, and he gets hit at the end of the play, and that draws a bunch of flags by Bradley McDougal. So he gets the first down, hops up, and that's going to be 15 more.
Yeah, you cannot drop that shoulder into the head of a sliding quarterback.
Personal
That was
foul,
easy.
unnecessary roughness, defense, number 30. 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play, and an automatic first down.
That's McDougal taking the spot normally occupied by Cam Chancellor.
But if you want to know how the Eagles' season has been going, just like this. They drop the snap, pick it up, scramble around, pick up the first down, and let's get another 15 right on top of it.
It takes him all the way out to the 38-yard line. Jay Ajayi in the backfield. Now they send him into the slot. They got Barner in the slot to the right. And you've got a pass down the left sideline that is incomplete, intended for Nelson Aguilar. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, if there's one position of concern on the Philadelphia Eagles, Halapoulivaati Vaitai playing left tackle, replacing Jason Peters. This Seahawk team has some tremendous rushers, and of course there's the Legion of Boom, at least 2/3 of it on the sideline. And maybe missing Cam Chancellor tonight, the bigger impact with the way the Philadelphia Eagles can run the football.
Sherman torn Achilles, already had his surgery. 2nd down and 10. Handoff, big hole for Blunt, who takes it out to the 46-yard line. And it will be 3rd down and 2.
Well, LeGarrette Blunt, you talk about they tackle him, but he returns the favor for most people. Byron Maxwell is a cornerback. You're not exactly looking forward to tackling him all night. And a lot of times, by the time you get to the 4th quarter, there are a few business decisions being made.
Maxwell was here, went to Philadelphia and Miami, and they brought him back with all of the injuries. 3rd and 2 from the 46. keep it on the ground and close to a first down. Blunt tackled there by McDougal. So let's see where they spot it. It appears with the naked eye it's going to be a little short. It's going to make it 4th down.
Well, here's the Cam Chancellor spot, right? It is that safety position coming in to make a play. And, you know, I'm a little surprised they didn't go for this because they have had such incredible success with quarterback sneaks with Carson Wentz around midfield, but opt not to.
Yeah, Wentz sneaking is 10 for 10 on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Donnie Jones in his 14th year in the league started here in Seattle. Sends it down to the 10-yard line where it is fair caught by Lockett. 6.5 left in the quarter. 3-0 Hawks. Nice night in Seattle. Rained on Friday and Saturday. Cloudy, but no rain tonight. 45 degrees, and they start with a Mike Davis run that goes nowhere. Brandon Graham right there to stop him. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11.
Well, Jimmy Graham on Brandon Graham, that ain't so good. And Brandon Graham is one of the great disruptors in all the National Football League. Now, he doesn't always pile up a ton of sacks, but he is having an excellent season this year. And more often than not, when you see somebody making a play in the backfield or chasing the quarterback around, Brandon Graham, number 55, has something to do with it.
Number 1 pick for the Eagles back in 2010. Now up to the 14-yard line goes Mike Davis. So much of a mix and match in that backfield ever since Marshawn Lynch left here a couple of years ago. They're still trying to find that number 1 guy. They went out, they got Eddie Lacy this year. Looked like Thomas Rawls would be the guy. McKissick's worked his way in. You got Mike Davis now, who was a 49er until earlier this year, just trying to find somebody.
Yeah, Mike Davis basically played in one game. I had to go back and find the game and end up watching it. He was impressive, hit a couple of big screen passes, couple of good runs, but really the resume very short for Mike Davis as a Seahawk.
Yeah, you saw Lacy on the sideline, the former Packer, and Wilson's going to get smothered at the 7-yard line. We were talking about Brandon Graham, and there he is to set up a 4th down and long.
Well, if you can't stop him outside, they'll try him inside right here. And when he gets on a guard, in this case Luke Joeckel, it is going to be very difficult. Just relentless effort out of Brandon Graham. A lot of fun to watch. He is probably on his way to a Pro Bowl this season. Very dominant.
Leads the team in sacks. That's his 8th. John Ryan to boot it. And kick will spin out of bounds at the 47-yard line, setting Philadelphia up with good field position. 4:23 left in the quarter. 3-0. Ball at the 46 of Seattle. LeGarrette Blount is the running back. Off play action. Ton of time. Wentz fires too high. He had Aguilar wide open. 2nd and 10. We go to Michelle.
Rodney McLeod, Al, is honoring 2 causes with his cleats tonight. The American Association for Cancer Research and Big Brothers Big Sisters, in which he actively participates as a big brother to a teenager in Philly. And Michael Bennett is honoring families of prisoners of war and those missing in action. He told me he is hosting 30 people of such families here at tonight's game, Al.
A lot of good stuff, Michelle. There's McLeod. There's Bennett. And back to the 46-yard line on 2nd down and 10. Wentz, quick throw to the outside. Torrey Smith, in his 7th year in the league, was in San Francisco for a couple of years. Baltimore before that. McDougal makes the tackle. 3rd and 6.
You want to slow down the pass rush, so make some quick throws, but so far the play of this game was the miss that Carson Wentz had on the play prior. Had a wide open receiver off of play action down the field that may well have scored a touchdown, and he simply overthrew it.
The rookie out of Wisconsin, Corey Clement, comes into the backfield. They are very deep in the backfield on 3rd down and 6. Wentz under pressure, and he goes down. Frank Clark, with some help from his friends, sets up a 4th down and a punt. 8-yard sack.
A lot of games up front, get a little pick there and loop around right there by Frank Clark. Tough on a new combination. You have Vaitai over there on that left side. They've only been working together with Wisniewski for a period of time. And this Seattle defensive line, man, they have been together a long time.
Tommy Jones collects the low snap, then sends a line drive down toward Lockett. Fields at the 14. And is tackled at the 14-yard line. A little less than 3 to play. 3-0 Seahawks. Pete Carroll's been here since 2010. We go to 2012 since then. In September, you see they're 12-8. October, they get better. November, they get better. And then December, and if the regular season laps over into January, 19-5. Tied for the best December/January mark. Pete Carroll, oldest coach in the league at 66, but if you hang with him, you'd never know it.
That's a fact.
Loves life. Full of energy. From the 15-yard line, off the play fake. Wilson throws, caught Vanette. And Vanette, with that touchdown last week, becoming a bigger part of that offense, the number 2 tight end, first down.
So what do? They go in here with all these tight ends over here on this side and then sneak one out on the backside of that, being Vanette. So they try and show a run formation and then take advantage with play action. Vanette's giving them a little bit of pop, blocking in the run game as well.
Go with 3 tight ends, with Graham and Luke Wilson and Vanette.
All good ones too.
Oh yeah. 18-yard gain from the 33. Wilson fires into traffic and somehow, some way is able to thread that in there to Jimmy Graham. Having a great year. He's oft injured in his first 2 seasons here, but healthy this year, and they're making nice music together, these 2 guys.
Yeah, spent a lot of time together. Almost got through the hands of Jimmy Graham, and you can tell when Russell Wilson winds up and fires that fastball. He's got a little baseball in his background. Almost got through Jimmy Graham that time.
2nd down and 5. On the 38-yard line. Wilson. Downfield. Finds the open man. That's Mike Davis. All the way down to the Philadelphia 36-yard line. Wilson extending the play. Big gain here. 24 yards to the Philly 37.
This is ad lib at its best. Watch this. Going to redirect Davis on the outside. Russell Wilson's going to take his hand and say, go over that way. And he just sneaks in behind as the defender is thinking about Russell Wilson running with the ball. You see the point? Big play.
From the 38-yard line. Eddie Lacy comes into the game. And he goes to work immediately, the ex-Packer, to the 35. How important has Wilson been this year? Well, let's just call him a one-man band. When you take a look at these numbers, passing yardage, rushing yardage, he's 82% of the team's offense. Would be the highest percentage of a team's offense in the history of the league. There's only 1 touchdown he hasn't been a part of when McKissick scored against Indianapolis back in October. He does it all. Vocals. You name it.
He does it all. That is a fact.
Half-minute left in the quarter. Lacy is the back. Play clock is at 1, so Wilson looks over to the official and says, let's take a timeout. You know, Russell Wilson, he comes into the league in 2012, 3rd round. They'd given Matt Flynn a lot of money, but Pete Carroll saw him. He said, wait a second. I'm making him my guy, and he's made every start since. He's been phenomenal this year.
Yeah, what did he say? It was like the 3rd preseason game. And they said, if he keeps doing in this game what he's been doing all along, I think we're going to have to start him. And he ends up just blowing it out, like 4 touchdown passes, whatever the case was. But they knew from the minute he got in the building, he was just a little different. He was a little special, and he has certainly proven it with his play.
I mean, some of the numbers he's put up this year, especially late in games, the 4th quarter numbers are like all record setting, or on their way to. 2nd down and 7 now after the timeout from the 35-yard line. Here comes the blitz. Wilson throws off his back foot deep downfield. Flag is thrown. You're going to get interference here. Paul Richardson covered by Ronald Darby. So the heat was put on. Wilson backpedaling, throwing off his back foot. But if it's defense, it's going to set him up deep downfield.
Ronald Darby coming back off that dislocated ankle has been targeted more than any of these corners.
Defense number 41. The ball is placed out of the foul and an automatic first down.
Get a little bit of action there, but I think right at the point where the move was made, Darby sort of got in the way of the route. I think he feels like he had a nice veteran play on the ball and still eyeballing the referee.
19-yard penalty. Ball now at the 16-yard line. Davis is the running back. Take to him. Wilson going for 6. Flag is thrown here too, and intended there for Baldwin. He's covered by Jalen Mills. Flag down, and the indication is against the Eagles. Here's Correnti.
Holding defense number 53. 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
That's Nigel Bradham. First down.
I think as the back was trying to release, Bradham just sort of wrapped his arms around him. Now, if he were an offensive tackle, they've been getting away with that stuff all season. But you can see it right there. And that would qualify as a hold.
Ball at the 11, waning seconds of the quarter. Wilson throwing, caught. Jimmy Graham smoking hot in the red zone. And that's the first touchdown Philadelphia's allowed in the first quarter this season.
Just a little pick move on the inside. You'll see him go out and up. Outside receiver comes up, just disrupts Jenkins enough, who can't get his head turned back around. Those guys spent a lot of time together in the offseason developing these sort of basketball-like moves. Of course, Graham played basketball in college and apparently did a little dancing in college as well.
That's 9 touchdowns for him in the last 8 games. Blair Walsh to tack on the extra point. So normally it's Philadelphia that starts hot. Tonight it's Seattle. It normally starts cold, and they start red hot. They've gained 111 yards to 18 for the Eagles in this period.
Well, we're playing football, but it's really red zone hoops is what we're talking about when you're dealing with Jimmy Graham. Of course, Tony Parker, seen some of the brilliant little in passes. Same sort of deal here. Just get basketball position for the alley-oop. And then on the outside, if you can get it down to the post, good things happen. Once again, Jimmy Graham post up, get body position on the outside. Russell Wilson delivers the football, and already here tonight one time, Malcolm Jenkins gets a taste.
So Wilson can play basketball. He was a former minor league baseball player.
Yep.
He's fairly good at football,
as we've seen.
Pete Carroll loving it. Hot start on a chilly night for the home team.
I'll tell you, there's something to be said for battle-tested playoff championship kind of teams, and the Eagles are getting tested tonight.
Walsh's kick taken by Barner. He goes to the 29, and the flag comes in at the end of the play. So Peterson sending Wentz in after the penalty.
During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back. The receiving team, number 10, a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Mac Hollins in the red zone in their first 31 games together. Only 5 touchdowns, 9 out of 29 targets, so they weren't linking up. But you go back to the last 8 games, look at that, 9 touchdowns, the 9th right there. Most completions and targets of any combo and touchdowns of any combo in the league this season. Jay Ajayi is the running back here on what will probably be the final play of the quarter. And the ex-Dolphin, who came over in a deal in early November to the 23, and that will take us into the second frame. End of one, 10-0 Seahawks. Sunday Night Football after these messages. Back we come to CenturyLink Field at 2nd down and 4 from the 23-yard line. Ajayi is the running back. Stack receivers to the right. They give it to the ex-Dolphin, who gets stacked up a little bit short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Well, clearly one of the best players in the National Football League, if not the best defensive player in the league right now. Bobby Wagner in there to stuff that up. Now 3rd and short, and they go shotgun, so no chance now of the sneak.
And Wentz will keep it, and he's able to maintain his balance to get to the 30-yard line. McDougal was the guy who almost had him in the backfield, but he moves to 6 here, 1st down.
And that really hurts when defensively you have the answer. You have your guy who is going to be staring at a quarterback in the National Football League one-on-one, and he's able to juke you out and around. Bradley McDougal, that's Cam Chancellor. Does that happen? Who knows?
Wentz 6'5" and about 240 pounds. Fakes the give here and then throws it into the bench. Smith the closest in terms of receivers, covered there by the rookie Griffin. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, that's the first of those RPOs, or run pass options, in which it's completely up to Carson Wentz. You'll see this is a run play, but he has the choice to pull it out and throw the football, but good coverage on the outside, so he simply had to throw it away.
RPO.
RPO.
Distant cousin to an IPO?
I think it is.
2nd and 10. From the 30-yard line. Wentz stepping up. Here he goes again. Flag is thrown. For the moment, he slides to a stop. Would have a 1st down, but we'll hear from Tony Correnti in just a moment. Going to be against Seattle.
Yeah, at least offsides. We know that one. And really, if Carson Wentz saw it, he should have taken his shot down the field.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. Offside, defense number 72. This penalty has been declined. Holding, defense number 26. This 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play and an automatic 1st down.
The rookie Griffin says, me?
Yep, on the outside, Michael Bennett. We know he likes to play with the snap count a bit. He's had a lot of success doing that over the years. And then here's Shaq Griffin on the outside. And that was, I guess, on the defense. Pretty good battle, didn't it?
Take your pick from the 47-yard line. Wentz hands the ball to Ajayi. And he takes the ball for what should be a 1st down to the 42. Boy, they already had Blunt in the backfield. They loved the rookie Clement. Then they went out and got Ajayi. They were looking to get out of Miami, and Philadelphia said, we'll take him.
Watch this first step, Al. Whoop, right around there, and then that's really what set it up. Good block by Lane Johnson, but it was that lateral step that got him into the hole.
He's been great since coming over, averaging over 9 yards per carry. From the 42. Wentz fires, and that's caught for about a 6-yard gain by Aguilar, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Jay Ajayi told me he never saw that trade coming, Al, and the first night he couldn't sleep. He said, at the end of the day, you do some reflecting. I heard what was being said, and it hurt. You think you're appreciated one day, then discover you were tolerated. But I put it to bed, and now I have a great opportunity with a great team and a fresh start.
And as you know, Michelle, we did that Miami game the following week, so we were hearing all the stuff from inside. But Howie Roseman, who's done a great job rebuilding this team, had the opportunity to get him, and they picked him up as they toss it to Clement, and he takes the ball to the 25-yard line. In fact, Howie Roseman went to Doug Peterson and said, you know, we got a chance to get Jay Ajayi, and Peterson thought he was kidding.
I didn't know what was up with that one either. Let's watch Vaitai coming out here on the outside. The big tackle, of course, having to replace Jason Peters, who was so brilliant getting out in front of runs like that in the past. But Shaq Griffin saw 72 and just got down.
This drive started back at the 17. Now at the 26-yard line. Off play action, and the pass is a little low, and at the 6-yard line, it's no good. No good. Incomplete. Zach Ertz going to the ground. It hits the turf. Second down.
I think the Seattle defender got his hand in there to knock it loose just enough. A little wobble there.
That's the rookie Griffin out of Central Florida. There's Howie Roseman, who got all of his power back when they let Chip Kelly go, and he brought Peterson in. So,
yeah, two completely different teams, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Chip Kelly wanted one kind of player, and Howie Roseman wanted another kind.
And an executive of the year candidate there, Jay Ajayi. When you look at this game, you got two MVP candidates clearly in the two quarterbacks, in Wentz and in Wilson. There's a guy named Brady who's probably in there as well. And then you got a defensive player of the year possibility in Bobby Wagner. And a coach of the year and an executive of the year.
Explains why they have the record they have. But right now is a situation where most teams, this is almost 100% pass. The one thing the Seahawks were concerned about is the Philadelphia Eagles will run it in these situations. So they can't get into a lot of their exotic blitz looks and pass rush looks.
3rd and 7. And look out, and the ball is out, but it's incomplete. It's forward. Frank Clark could have been offside on the Seahawks as well.
Forward pass.
Well, and I think an offside's the boot.
Clark came flying in.
Offside. Defense number 55 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty and repeat, 3rd down.
Yeah, you've got him coming off the edge right here. The shame is, I think Michael Bennett was going to get there regardless. He had the inside path on Lane Johnson. So if Clark had not jumped, had to feel pretty good about, well, maybe Bennett jumped too.
Big break for the Eagles. 3rd down and 2. 10.5 remaining in the half. Seahawks out to an early 10-0 lead. And Blunt is going to pick and thread his way through traffic to a first down to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about. In 3rd down and 3, it's almost always a pass situation, and yet for this team, it's a trap. So they're going to bring and are power and bring him across the formation, run the ball with a 250-pound running back. And Carson Wentz has been phenomenal. I don't mean to downplay him in any way, shape, or form. But the way this team can run the football can really help a young quarterback.
12th play of the drive. They've had 8 runs and 3 passes on the drive. They make it 9 now. On the ground as Blunt takes the ball down to the 1-yard line, and the flag thrown at the end of that play. So this crew has been busy.
Holding. Offense number 17. 10-yard penalty and repeat, 1st down.
That's the wideout Alshon Jeffrey, the recipient of a new 4-year contract over the weekend.
Yeah, and there you see it wrapped around both shoulder pads as soon as the play gets close. This is all, you see the tug of the jersey, easy call. You know the play is successful, right? You're all the way down, even if worst case scenario gets tackled at the 5-yard line, and now you're back out at the 14-yard line. Silly mistake.
Yep. 1st down and 9.
This formation.
Play clock is at 2. And Wentz will fire it to the outside, and that'll be caught there by Aguilar who gets to the 11-yard line, tackled by Will Hoyt. So Aguilar last year, not good, not a good rookie season or second season actually out of USC. Couldn't get in areas hopping off the field. Had a real bad game here last year. Bad penalty and a couple of drops. 52-4 rating, fourth lowest at a 123. And this year, look at that, 2.5 times what it was last year. They're really clicking. Second highest out of 71 combos. Hollins comes in, and this is Blunt, who gets tackled at the 11-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 6.
Well, you better be good if you're going to go that tight end trap inside. We see this with Gronkowski all the time, but there are some good young players on this Seattle defensive line. Quentin Jefferson's going to spin out of this move here. Watch this down block right there, and Jefferson's going to spin out and make the play. Really young, athletic, talented guys. Not just Michael Bennett and Frank Clark on this defensive line anymore.
3rd and 6. 3 receivers set to the left. Wentz looked that way, then goes to the right, and smothered at the 8-yard line. Byron Maxwell takes care of Ajayi to make it 4th down.
Big time hit there by Byron Maxwell, who has been around the world and back. This defense designed to be able to make a tackle. Both of these teams have good tackling cornerbacks, but he was off to Philadelphia, traded to Miami, came back to Seattle, and just in time now that Richard Sherman is hurt and gone.
Jake Elliott, 26-yard field goal attempt when Sturgis got hurt opening day. They picked him up off the Cincinnati practice squad, and those are the first points of the game for the highest scoring team in the league. 10-3 Seattle. And back we come, about an hour's drive north up to CenturyLink Field on the outskirts of downtown Seattle, where the Seahawks lead 10-3. Big game for the Hawks in particular, trying to stay a game back of the Rams in the NFC West. Philadelphia trying to have an early clinch of the NFC East as it rolls through the end zone. Out they come to the 25-yard line. Chris.
Well, we've talked a lot about the offense, but this Eagles defense has been sensational under Jim Schwartz, and mostly because of the pressure they can deliver. Brandon Graham leads this bunch with 8 sacks, but 42% of the time your quarterback is under pressure. That's #1 in the NFL. Sacks, hits, hurries, all of them right at the top or close to it. And Russell Wilson says, bring it. They're like Muhammad Ali, right? You may think you can get me, but you got to catch me first.
Do it all, rope-a-dope you, knock you out at the end. Whatever it takes. He fires here to the outside. Mike Davis. Gain of 8. 2nd down and 2. Speaking of
there we go.
Okay. Ooh, good right uppercut there. That's illegal there. Well, you got Timmy Jernigan, the defensive tackle. Picked him up from Baltimore. Good acquisition.
Yeah, really good acquisition. Between he and Fletcher Cox inside, it has been awfully tough. Because, you know, it's the one thing, and now this team has great outside pass rushers. They really do. Derek Barnett, who they drafted, has been tremendous. Vinnie Curry, Brandon Graham, we've talked about. Chris Long coming over from the world champion Patriots. But when you can get pressure inside, and Fletcher Cox and Timmy Jernigan have been delivering that, there aren't many places to hide.
2nd and 2. And it's Davis picking up the first down. You look at that Philly defense. 3rd best in points allowed, 6th in yards, best in the league against the rush, 17th against the pass, so that's in the middle of the pack. But the reason is they have so many big leads at the end of the game. In the 4th quarter, the opposition is just throwing the ball.
Yeah, but this is also a defense that's used to seeing their offense, at least for the past month, put 30 points on the board. And so far, the Seahawks defense has said something different about that.
And spinning his way away from a tackle is Davis. In fact, the Eagles have scored 30 or more in each of their last 5 games.
I tell you, I kind of like this Mike Davis, don't you? He's a bigger guy. I've seen him do a couple of nice things in blitz pickup, which is always important. And now he lays a little spin move on Jalen Mills on the outside. They could really help themselves getting a run game going. I mean, they're on their 6th starting running back. This is insane this year.
That action up front here.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
They're the most penalized team in the league. In fact, they're almost on a historic pace, the Seahawks, averaging 9.9 penalties per game. And meanwhile, there's Jernigan getting taped up and checked out on the sideline.
Now, they pretty well go 8 deep along that defensive line, so substituting on the defensive line for the Eagles, not a big concern.
Quickly to the outside, getting a block there, but spoiling the play is that secondary. Bradham coming up from his linebacker spot. Richardson makes the catch. 3rd and long upcoming.
Now, Nigel Bradham had a pretty good idea on this one the whole way. He was leaning that way, shuffling out, and then when he saw it coming, fired and went out and made the play. Not a lot of attention. You know, they're on their 3rd middle linebacker now, are the Philadelphia Eagles. Najee Good in there for Joe Walker, who's in there for a tremendous talent in Jordan Hicks.
Yeah, Hicks hurt about a month ago. Gone for the year. 3rd down and 12. Look out as Wilson escapes. Looks like a video game here. And gets tackled at the 42-yard line. But they needed 12 and only got a fraction of that. Graham knocks him down. It'll be 4th down and 5.
Well, here we go. You got your first play, and that's where it is. And you get immediate pressure, and Graham's chasing him. Now watch the pump fake 5 yards downfield. Believe it or not, that works sometimes. Did not work on Corey Graham.
Picked up 7 yards, needed 12. Ryan comes in to punt. Barner back to take it. He calls for a fair catch. He comes up and makes it at the 19-yard line, and then contact is made at the end of the play, but there is no flag. From the 19-yard line, this drive begins with a blunt move up to the 21. So, of course, Prince Harry is in the news, very much so. He's going to get married. You look at Carson Wentz. Now look at that.
Wow.
What are they saying? You know, they once in a while you see that separated at birth thing in a newspaper. Take a look at that.
There are lookalikes, and then there are lookalikes. That's unbelievable.
Well, Wentz has become royalty in Philadelphia. We know that. They are euphoric in the city of brotherly love, and especially so about their quarterback. 2nd down and 7 up at the 22. Swing it to Smith on the outside, and he'll get taken down about 4 yards shy of the 1st down. Justin Coleman stops him there. Wentz is from, well, the family now in North Dakota. He was born in North Carolina, and his family was following North Carolina State football. So when he was in North Carolina, or thinking about North Carolina football, one of the guys he loved was Russell Wilson. Because Wilson started at North Carolina State and then spent that 1 year at Wisconsin, which is why he always says in the intro, "I'm a whole pack of Badgers."
Phillip Rivers too.
Yep. 3rd down and 4 from the 25. Wentz surveys, throws, caught. That'll be a 1st down as Aguilar gets run out by KJ Wright along the sideline with 3:14 left in the 2nd quarter.
Well, if you're going to beat this football team, you have to block that guy coming off the edge. Michael Bennett, still one of the premier pass rushers. It's hard to believe, really. Lane Johnson, a former quarterback at the junior college level, played a little defensive end, a little tight end. I guess kept enjoying nice dinners along the way and became a right tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles.
You wonder when Wentz is going to take a shot downfield here. He's only taken one so far. Ajayi stopped behind the line of scrimmage. You look at Wentz's numbers, 7 of 11 for 37 yards, period.
Yeah, and it's a little surprising because they know that Richard Sherman is one of the best deep ball players maybe ever. And on the outside now is Byron Maxwell and Shaquille Griffin, and you're thinking, all right, they're going to take a shot here eventually with that. Alshon Jeffrey on the outside there right now, matched up.
Only 3 passes thrown more than 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Nothing complete. And this is Ajayi, and he's able to pick and thread his way to close to a first down. Earl Thomas pops him at the end of the play. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. It'll be 3rd and 1 when we resume. Lots of action. Good game. Good half. Seattle 10. Philadelphia 3 at the 2-minute warning. The head coach Doug Peterson calls the offense, and the defensive coordinator Chris Richard calls the defense. It's 3rd down and 1 here with 2 minutes to play to the half. Jay Ajayi is the running back.
Look at him playing the sneak. They're right up in there. They knew it was coming.
And we mentioned before, he has been perfect on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. That's 11 for 11 for him now. Hustles him to the line of scrimmage. First down.
Yeah, he calls something out, and then he gives it the old kill, kill, kill. Forget it. I got it, boys. And here we go. He is almost unstoppable. Tom Brady-like on that.
Minute and a half to the half. 4-man rush. Fired over the middle. Caught at the 49 of Seattle. Taken down there is Torrey Smith. The Eagles have all of their timeouts. Second down and 5. Taking a lot of time here. The rookie Clement in the backfield. Wentz, little backhanded shovel. Short gain. Clement makes the catch. We're under a minute now, and it's going to be 3rd down and 2. And a timeout taken here by Philly. Back now, an important 3rd down and 2. 59 seconds to the half. The ball is at the 46-yard line.
Carson Wentz has gotten them to jump off sides twice, and I think this is 4-down territory, so not out of the question they run the football right here.
Very possibly. Toss it back to Clement. In trouble, in traffic. Stop for no gain, and now we'll see about the call here on 4th down.
Boy, you run it on 3rd down, you expect it to come out as a 4th and 1, not a push on that one. But now basically, because Seattle is not calling a timeout, they're able to work this thing down, so they're not quite as afraid to go for it. I think that was advantage Philadelphia.
Absolutely. 4th down and 2. Neither team. Seattle, they were kind of caught in a situation where do you take it, do you not take it? And now Philadelphia is going to take it with 5 seconds on the play clock. And we'll be back in 30 seconds. So it's 4th down and 2 at the 46-yard line, and Philadelphia is going to send the punting unit in here.
Wow, that's twice now. They've been in sort of that decision time
near midfield.
I don't think Seattle's buying it. They're just leaving their defense out there.
Philadelphia will get the ball to start the second half, and indeed they're going to snap it to Jones, who's going to spin that ball down and roll it to the 3-yard line, and one kneel down will take us to halftime. So there are the numbers for each of these guys. We thought they might light up the scoreboard tonight, but has not been the case. 45 yards for Wentz and 101 for Wilson.
Well, 2 pretty good defenses out there as well, and so it's been a little bit of, I don't want to undersell the playoffs, but it has a little bit of that feel. It is so significant to the Seattle Seahawks. And of course, now the Philadelphia Eagles trying to hold off the Minnesota Vikings for that top seed, because the Vikings just keep winning football games.
And to make sure the road to the Super Bowl on the NFC side goes through Philadelphia. Kneel down ends the half. Eagles get the second half kickoff. As we start the second half, Al Michaels with Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya on Sunday Night Football from the Great Northwest. And we start here with a touchback, and we go to Michelle.
Well, despite scoring just 3 points in the first half, Doug Peterson happy with his run game. He said we just have to relax, settle in, give her a little bit of help in pass protection, and try to score 7, mix in some play action. And then Pete Carroll said, we need our pressure to show up. We got to get after Carson Wentz early and often. Guys?
Very interesting comment there, Michelle, in terms of you would think when you look at Wentz's numbers, they're putting enough pressure on him.
Well, he hasn't had any success down the field. If you remember early in the game, he overthrew that one wide open pass to Aguilar, and really that was their shot for a big play, just missed.
First down, fake to Ajayi, fires over the middle, and that's caught up at the 39-yard line. And that's Zach Ertz, the great tight end, who makes his first catch of the night.
Yeah, and we've been waiting for a little bit of this as well. Zach Ertz, who is a really good route runner from the tight end position, as the Eagles come out and pick up the pace here a bit.
Ertz is their leading receiver. That is his 56th catch of the season. Trying to get out of the backfield is Ajayi for a minimal gain.
Well, here's a little bit about what Pete Carroll was talking about on the outside. We're seeing Lane Johnson doing a nice job against Michael Bennett. It's been a good battle, but so far Lane Johnson winning that one. And the running game successful, but as successful as the running game is in the NFL, you have to hit big plays off of play action. The Eagles haven't done it yet.
2nd and 8. Wentz fires over the middle, and that is at the 49-yard line. That is Zach Ertz making the catch for a first down.
Yeah, and one of the problems you have in a zone defense is as the quarterback has time, those gaps in the defense start to broaden out. And right now we're seeing Ertz take advantage of that.
And Philadelphia with a quicker pace, going no huddle here. They're taking some time to get set up at the 49 of Seattle. Wentz is going to roll to his left, keep his eyes downfield, and throw, and it's going to be caught by Alshon Jeffrey. They've been holding him in check tonight. The former Chicago Bear having a real good season.
So the spinouts are 1-to-1 between these two quarterbacks. And there you see why Jeffrey just got paid all that money. Big, powerful, strong guy. When the ball hits his hands, nobody's going to knock it out.
Jeffrey 6'3", 218, his first catch of the night. Good start for the Eagles here in the third quarter. First down from the 38-yard line. And Ajayi will go nowhere. Taking down Bobby Wagner, stopping him in the backfield for a loss. 2nd down and long.
Well, one thing you can count on is if Bobby Wagner sizes you up, you're going down. He is yet to miss a tackle on the season right there. And you may think you're going to make a move, but if he gets you there, it's over.
Drafted the same year as Russell Wilson. He was in the 2nd round. Russell in round 3. 2nd down and 12. The dump-off pass is dropped. Jay Ajayi, the receiver. It'll be 3rd down and 12. 3rd down for Wentz. I mean, his numbers in almost every category this season are terrific. On 3rd down, where the NFL average is 83.6 average passer rating, Wentz 123 and change. Number 1 in the league. And Philadelphia terrific on 3rd down conversions. Tonight 2 for 2 on 3rd down.
On the brink of field goal range as well. Keep that in mind.
3rd and 12. He fires, and that will be caught. Coming back to make the catch is Torrey Smith. Forward progress is to about the 28-yard line, but a little bit short of the first down. Jeffrey signals first down, but it doesn't look as if it will be.
A healthy spot, but maybe not healthy enough. He was clearly passed. Makes the catch right on the line. Where was contact, though? That's the question. Contact there, so I think it would have been about the 28.
Just about where
which would have been a first down if they had given him the 28.
Well, they're going to bring the chain out. It was 3rd down and 12. This looks like it'll be determined by about 3 links, one way or another. We're going to make it about 6 links.
It's really interesting because if you could really determine where that was, you've got Carson Wentz, and this time he says, let's go. Somebody in the booth may take a look at this. Contact, if you could tell where that hand was, that's clearly past the 28. But Wright is in the wrong, and here's the official sticks up here at the top of the screen. Maybe not enough visually.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. You know, normally that's one of those things that almost reverts to the call on the field.
Yeah, and you have a quarterback that has been borderline unstoppable here on these short yardage conversions with sneaks.
So 4th and inches.
Well, he is going to challenge it.
At the 28, and now, yep, he's going to throw it out there. So somebody upstairs, one of the guys that sends it down to the bench, says, okay, you know, it's worth a challenge.
Philadelphia is challenging the ruling on the field of progress as related to a first down.
All right.
Yeah, KJ Wright got in the picture just a little bit. It'd be interesting to see whether or not there's a catch. And you've got to say, at that point, if contact is made, that's clearly past the line to game. Do you feel comfortable enough? I think Wright may get in the way. Now his contact, to me, contact was a little clearer on the first shot that we took a look at. And you could see a reference point where the line was. I thought that first shot made it look like it was. So if contact is made here, that's a first down.
They'll stitch it together from all of the angles in New York, trying to find the landmark. And we'll see if they get it. If they don't get it, you assume they're going to go for it. They're 11 for 15 on 4th down this season. Of course, most of that is a little sneak job by Wentz. So we've got a collect call over to Park Avenue. This is what Tony Correnti's looking at in consultation with NYC.
I mean, you have to assume contact with that left arm was made at some point in that process, and he had a good bit of distance, I would say at least a foot, where he was on the good side of the line.
This is the type of challenge, it's difficult to win it because it needs to be pretty obvious. If it's not, it normally stands. Here's Correnti.
After review, the ruling on the field will stand as a progress short. Philadelphia will be charged with their first timeout.
Timeout, and they're down to 1 challenge for the rest of the game. And Wentz and company will come back out to try to convert. Corey Clement comes in with him. Opening drive of the half. This will be their 8th play.
It's always the strangest of huddles when this crowd gets going. You have to just pile in there so you can hear your quarterback. They're piling up for that quarterback sneak too.
Seahawks trying to clog up the middle, which is where Wentz figures to go if he keeps it. There he goes, and he burrows his way to a Philadelphia first down.
And we talk about Wentz, but you feel pretty good about this combination right here too. You've got Brandon Brooks, about 335 pounds, and you have Jason Kelce, just a tremendous center, maybe the best in football, getting underneath the pads of the nose tackle in front of him.
So a fresh set of downs from the 27-yard line. And Wentz off the fake here, dancing around, fires, and that will be caught for a 1st and goal by Alshon Jeffrey, who takes the ball inside the 5-yard line. 23-yard gain.
Who's the most valuable player on this team right now? Well, arguably, with Jason Peters not available, Lane Johnson has been asked to block Michael Bennett one-on-one a lot, and that is a very difficult task.
Got his arm up, no flag. 1st and goal from the 4. On the ground, going nowhere. In fact, taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Frank Clark is LeGarrette Blount to make it 2nd down and goal.
Yeah, just so difficult to ask tight ends to block defensive ends of the Seattle Seahawks. It just rarely happens. But this is a team, their red zone numbers in part have been so good because of their ability to run. But that 1st down failure now changes the quotient a little bit. Now the pass rushers are thinking they'll get their shot.
2 tight ends, either of whom is a threat to catch one. Ertz and Selleck. Blount is the running back on 2nd down and goal. And Wentz keeps it himself. Does he get into the end zone? The ball is going to pop out of the end zone. So the question is, did he come across the line with the ball? For the moment, they're going to rule it a touchback.
Ruling on the field as a runner fumbled the ball in the field of play. It went out of the end zone, resulting in a touchdown. Seattle's ball, 1st down.
How about that? Obviously, they'll look at it, but it looks from here as if the ball is out before he gets across the goal line.
The ruling on the field has been confirmed as a fumble in and out of the end zone, touchback. Seattle's ball, 1st down.
Pretty clear that Wentz lost the ball before he crossed the line, and then the smart play was made to let the ball go out of the end zone. You don't want to bat it out if you're the Seahawks here.
Yeah, a little initial credit to Clark to get it out, and then it looked like Sheldon Richardson stripped it out of there. But you're right, Al, the Seahawks know that rule all too well. You're not allowed to bat it out of the end zone.
That happened in a Monday night game a couple of years ago. So Wentz, who hadn't fumbled in his last 4 games, calls it up here. And Jimmy Graham will take the ball for a 1st down on Seattle's 1st offensive play of the 2nd half. That was the 1st turnover of the game tonight.
Yeah, and it makes you sick as a quarterback, but it's also lesson learned for future reference. You get down around the goal line, and the defense has nothing to lose at that point, right? You might as well try and strip it out. Sometimes they don't even go for the tackle. They'll just go for that, and I'm sure that smart guy will put that one in the memory bank and use it in the future.
Graham did not get the 1st down. They spotted at the 29-yard line. Now you're going to have a 3rd down and 1 as Mike Davis is stopped for no gain by Nigel Bradham. Wilson 11 of 13 for 110 tonight.
Malcolm Jenkins coming off the edge. So now we're seeing Jim Schwartz start to turn up some of the pressure from his end. And they are unafraid. This defense, even down here in this end, unafraid to bring 0 blitzes, not have a safety in the middle of the field, although it looks like they have one here.
3rd and 1. Wilson under pressure. Hops and skips away and then has to throw it into the Philly bench and get a flag down up at the 33-yard line. Brandon Graham was chasing him. Tony Correntes had a pretty busy night. And makes the call here.
Holding defense number 21. A 5-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
It's the corner, Patrick Robinson.
Take a look right there. And we've seen this, you know, early in the season, Al, we saw the holding on the scrambles go against the Seahawks. They had to retrain their offensive line to let go when he started scrambling, but it also puts a ton of pressure on the defense to not hold as well.
Except the first there, Wilson running for his life again and just flings that one into the bench. And Doug Peterson says, wait a second.
There is no intentional
he
grounding.
was out of the
quarterback was outside the pocket.
There you
threw
go.
The ball beyond the line of scrimmage.
Just want to make sure he was outside of the tackle box. Pressure was put on that time by Vinny Curry and Brandon Graham from the outside. Wilson had no chance. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, a little screen attempt there, and the inside players understood exactly what was going on. So this defense now cranking up the pressure here. We'll see whether or not they start thinking about taking a shot. They really haven't tried to work it down the field too much, and when they did, they had success early.
Most everything underneath or to the outside. Wilson likes to throw toward the sidelines. Play clock was down to 0. Wilson again. This great mobility, and throws that one away. Flag is down on this play.
Well, Jimmy Graham was down in the middle of the field, and Corey Graham was standing right next to him.
Which should be a pretty good indication as to which way it's going to go, you would think.
Yeah, if in fact there was a foul. If your feet get tangled up, it's not a problem. Let's take a look.
Holding, defense number 24. 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Corey Graham on Jimmy Graham.
You know, he did have his arm in there, but what took Graham to the ground was an inadvertent trip. Look at the feet. There's the arm, but it was the kick, and it ultimately it was Graham sort of kicking that right leg back against his own left that took him to the ground.
By the optics, it's called a penalty. 4th first down by penalty tonight for the Hawks. And Mike Davis goes nowhere. 2nd down.
You know,
Doug Baldwin tonight, he's been held in check. The leading receiver, 1 grab for 9 yards, period.
You know, it ain't over yet. And I'll say this, for the Seattle Seahawks to have a lead in this game, what we've seen from them this year, they're about to turn it on. This is when they get hot in the 2nd half.
In particular, the 4th quarter. It's only the 4th time all season that the Seahawks have led at the half. 2nd and 9. Wilson flings it. Well, speaking of Baldwin, there it is. We put the reverse kibosh on him. First down.
I think Russell Wilson saw this when you're that far off against a guy as quick as Doug Baldwin. He's going to take that one and give him a chance to run with the football. You know, I think that one of the most important things for Russell Wilson to do, we've seen the scrambles and the ad-lib plays, but like any great quarterback, you need some of those quick rhythm passes to force those pass rushers and to force those coverage guys up into bump and run situations.
Wilson, look out again. Pressure again. Pass is incomplete. Flag again. McKissick was the intended receiver coming out of the backfield. Jenkins was down there covering. Seattle has already been the beneficiary of 4 first downs. Peterson is saying the pass was uncatchable.
There is no foul for pass interference as the pass is ruled uncatchable. It will be 2nd down.
All right, Doug wins that, and it's 2nd down and 10.
All right, here we go on the outside. Derek Barnett, the young rookie, who's been doing a sensational job this year working against Brown. And a lot of that is not his fault because of the fact that Russell Wilson was moving backwards. Brown's expecting him to step up into the pocket.
From the Philly 48, Wilson flings it to the outside, leaping, and it's incomplete. Richardson and Darby both battling for it. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
That is a rare miss on the outside for Richardson. He's had a 133 quarterback rating on those 50-50 jump balls down the field. You'll see Richardson go up, get his hands on it, but now, looks like he got his hand inside the helmet. Let's see if he reaches over the top. Is he inside the helmet? I don't think there's any question.
Sure did, and that's why the crowd is exorcised right now. They see it up on the big board.
Because definitely Richardson would have had it on the rebound, don't you think?
Pretty clear. And now you've got a timeout.
Seattle, they're first.
Before a 3rd and 10. A little less than 7 to go in the 3rd. 3rd down and 10 after the timeout. Eagles Showing blitz for the moment. Put a lot of pressure. Here they come. Almost a jailbreak. And Wilson throws, and getting out in front is Doug Baldwin to the end zone. Touchdown. Eagles sell out on the blitz, and Wilson over McLeod to Baldwin for 48.
You'll see no safety in the middle of the field, which means Rodney McLeod, a safety, has to cover one-on-one against Doug Baldwin. And it takes a gutsy quarterback to make that throw, because you know you cannot block everybody coming after you. And Doug Baldwin, we talked about it earlier in the drive, just give him time.
Was a 3rd and 10. That Eagle D has allowed only 5 completions of 20 more yards all season.
Did that foot hit the ground?
Does he get in? Yeah, the ball, is it scraping?
I didn't think so. I didn't see anything flying, but we're going to take a look.
Well, they review every scoring play anyway. At worst, it's inside the 1-yard line, 1st and goal.
Ordinarily on these turf fields, you see a few of those pellets fly up. I saw it on the field of play, but I don't but he was across.
At the 2.25-yard line is where's the ball is the question. Pellets go up. Where's the ball? Like I say, worst case basis, 1st and goal inside the 1.
It didn't happen on the first swipe, but watch right at the end, right. I think that's a touchdown. Guts call that time by Jim Schwartz. He brought the pressure, paid the price.
They see those that rubber comes up. I'm thinking they're going to take this ball back to the inside the 1-yard line. There it is right there. It looks like he's out too at that point. Got to stitch it together, stitch the replays together, and then figure out where the ball is. Like I say, on a worst case basis.
I'm not sure that foot. Well, I don't know. Whatever.
Shania Twain would say, whatever. So you think you're Brad Pitt?
After
Whatever.
review, the runner's foot dragged out of bounds with the ball at the 1-yard line. It will be Seattle's ball, 1st and goal at the 1.
2 for 2. You're hot tonight.
Blazing. Looking for the hat trick.
I'm going to say right there. Yep.
So McLeod able to at least make contact with him. Get him down. The ball is inside the 1 now, 1st and goal. So back we go to 10-3. Bring Mike Davis in as the running back.
All the beef in the game now for the Seahawks. Extra offensive linemen, 3 tight ends.
And Nick Burnett comes out of the backfield now. And Wilson's going to roll. And he's in trouble. And pass is incomplete for Graham. Graham covered on the play by Puget Hill. Vinny Curry chased the quarterback out, 2nd and goal.
Number 64 and number 73 have reported as eligible. 64 and 73.
Well, there's Graham, and not only did Vinny Curry get pressure, he also majorly disrupted the route by Jimmy Graham.
What do you want to see? You want to see Lynch carry the ball? Never mind.
I want to see this big offensive lineman carry the ball here.
2nd and goal. And diving in, does he get in is the question. That's Mike Davis. And he doesn't. So it's 3rd and goal.
Boy, it's under, and then here comes the linebackers to Phil. They know the jump is coming, and they're just going to jump with him. Meet him right in a hole. They had Jordan Ruse, the offensive lineman, in at fullback. But he does not get there, and all of a sudden that little pellet flying is starting to look bigger and bigger.
Eddie Lacy is now in the backfield. 3rd and goal. Wilson looking, throwing, touchdown. Tyler Lockett. like going to the dentist. They thought they had a touchdown, then all of a sudden you got a 3rd and goal, and in they go.
Well,
80 yards.
Here you go. And what happens is all the traffic, there's just no way to get through as a defender. You see Jalen Mills, and it wasn't a pick, but there's just no way to be able to maneuver your way through there. Russell Wilson saw it all the way. Pretty good job by Baldwin as well, seeing that ball come down and just slowing down and not allowing his defender to get there.
Lockett's first touchdown catch of the season. Blair Walsh bangs it through. 80-yard drive, 11 plays, 5:42 remaining in the third. It's a 14-point hometown lead. Bobby Wagner could be the defensive player of the year. When he plays, only 16.2 points per game allowed, lowest among current defensive players. Some of the great linebackers in history, and that's a pretty good group, isn't it? Lambert, Nitschke, Singletary, and Butkus. He's right up there with them in terms of the difference that he can make when he is in the game.
Yeah, he gives defensive coordinator Chris Richard a lot of credit too. A guy that's not much off of their age, and they have a lot of fun on that defensive side.
It's now Philadelphia, loser of only one game this season, week 2, down by 14. And Wentz fires, and he has an open man at the 45-yard line. Aguilar got free. Wagner goes back there to stop him. Big gain here, first down in Seattle territory. It's a gain of 32.
Well, this is what everybody tries to do. You have the man-to-man coverage on that side, zone coverage on the other side. They try and take the inside slot across the field. That's the play they missed early in the ball game. Come right back to it. Would have had it twice, but for that miss.
Wentz, who's 15 of 20, throws to the outside, open again, starting to slip at Jai, but maintains his balance, picks up a first down. Griffin makes the tackle.
So let's go back to the first quarter, and it was just the opposite. Now going across the field the other way, man-to-man coverage side from the zone coverage side, and then of course the big fumble. There is the difference in this game. If they hit that pass and don't fumble that ball, we're likely looking at 17-17.
No huddle and 5 wide. And Wentz to the outside, and the pass is incomplete. Good tight coverage on Jeffrey, smothered by Shaquille Griffin. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, if there is a next one on this team, and I'm talking about the next Richard Sherman, whatever, likely is Shaquille Griffin. He is a young man that they are so impressed with. Watch the coverage here, going against the newly signed Jeffrey and all over it.
Griffin, rookie, picked him in the 3rd round out of Central Florida. Sherman looking on. Griffin lined up to go to work on a 2nd and 10. And that's caught on a slant, and Jeffrey takes it to the 25-yard line, tackled by Maxwell. And Jeffrey pays the price here. A little slow in getting up. 3rd down and 3, and they'll take him out.
Well, that RPO working again. That was completely up to Carson Wentz. You'll see it's a run play. Everybody thinks it is, and then he's going to fire it back. He likes the slant more than the run. There it is. And the other thing it's doing, Al, is it's freezing Earl Thomas in the middle of the field, because instead of flying up on the runs one way, he's got to stay there in case that pass comes backside.
Play clock at 2. Again, that play fake, and the pass is incomplete at the 20-yard line. That's McDougal getting in there with Ertz to make it 4th down and 3.
Run pass option the other way. And one of the things they love to do is to take their big tight end outside, just get body position. But that one just too good by Bradley McDougal.
And Ertz is hurt. He is down. So an injury timeout. Zach Ertz on the ground. So Ertz was able to walk off the field. Jeffrey comes back in, and Philadelphia is going to line up to go for it on a 4th down and 3 at the 25-yard line.
Well, and Ertz is one of your big targets in clutch situations. So now you would think Alshon Jeffrey would be choice one. He lines up far to the left.
Ertz is in the medical tent, 4th down and 3. Philly down by 14 with 19 minutes left in the game. Look out. And the pressure was so intense that was put on by K.J. Wright that Wentz had no chance. And Seattle takes over on downs. 3:51 left in the third. 17-3 Seahawks. So taking over on downs now. Seattle starts from the 25-yard line. Keep it on the ground with Wilson, faking the give, and picking up 11 yards and a 1st down. Back to the 4th down play we go.
You ever had one of those nights? That's what the Eagles are thinking. Right here, Kenyon Barner is going to sneak out here, man coverage right there, but K.J. Wright knows he can't follow him, so he just goes to get the quarterback wide open, walk-in touchdown for Kenyon Barner. And Carson Wentz knew that is play number 3 tonight that they would have likely had in the end zone if they could have just hit it.
Set up a little screen here, then cutting back is Mike Davis to the inside where he gets tackled up at the 37-yard line by Michael Kendricks. Gain of 3.
Well, we've seen Michael Kendricks do some special things, and there goes Zach Ertz. That is one of their top threats on this football team. He has scored a lot of touchdowns here recently, and that makes life harder.
Banged his head off the turf, went into concussion protocol, and now back to the locker room. 2nd down and 8 for Seattle. 2.5 to go in the third.
You know, and the other thing is they have to go play the Rams after this, and who knows what happens there.
Philadelphia staying out west all week. Davis.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. Down the sideline he goes. What a run. Justin Britt got out there, helped lead the way with a block. That's a gain of 21 for Mike Davis.
How about these moves? Watch Davis not once. There's 1. There's 2. Here's 3. All right, Marshawn Lynch would have been proud of those. Maybe, just maybe, on try number 6, they have found their back.
And now they put Thomas Rawls in the game. We haven't seen him. At one point, he was going to be their number 1 guy. Had a really good year a couple of years ago. He's been injured a lot. So a little bit of Eddie Lacy. And this is Rawls. Looking for more playing time, and he takes the ball to the 36-yard line. Chris, we take a look at the playoff picture right now. Minnesota winning today. Mike Zimmer has that team red hot. Philly would be 10-2 if they don't win. The Rams and New Orleans at 9-3. At the moment, Carolina would be in, and Seattle would be in at the moment because Atlanta lost today. There's the rest. There are the rest of the teams that are still in the mathematical hunt.
Goff, Wentz, Case Keenum, Drew Brees go big.
2nd and 6, and Wilson throws, and that is incomplete, intended for Baldwin off the back of Robinson. 3rd down.
Now it was right there. Good to see. That was Baldwin on that come all the way underneath, and for Robinson, he just ran fast enough to catch up, and it hit him in the back of the head.
It's a 3rd down and 6. Mike Davis in the backfield. Wilson buying time. Line going with him. Look out. And he throws that one.
Doesn't get to the line of scrimmage.
Right. He throws that one out of bounds.
And it was arguably a lateral.
Well, it looked like
it wouldn't matter at that point.
It looked like it went forward. They're going to discuss this. A flag is down.
I mean, at the very least, it's got to be intentional grounding, so it's going to be there anyway.
They were on the verge of, or on the edge.
Offense number 3. There's no receiver in the area. The pass was behind the line of scrimmage. Carries the loss of down. 4th down.
So they were close to field goal range, even though the way Walsh has been kicking lately, I doubt they would have gone for it, and now forget about it.
Yeah, you see all the lines so clearly outside the pocket. But then coming screaming off the backside was Derek Barnett, and Russell Wilson never saw him. Oh my goodness, right to the sternum.
So he gets sandwiched. It's 4th and 22. Ryan had 2 early punts in the game. Each of them 39 yards. Fair catch called for up at the 19-yard line there by Kenyon Barner. And with less than a minute to go in the 3rd period, that is where Philly takes over. We go to Michelle.
Well, you saw Zach Ertz go back to the locker room, Al. He's officially questionable, being evaluated for a head injury. He was in the medical tent, as you mentioned, when he was being examined by the UNC and the medical staff. They came out and they looked at the play that you're seeing where he got hurt. And after they looked at that for a couple of minutes, they immediately sent him back to the locker room. So questionable at this time, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Mentioned that Philadelphia will stay out here. They'll stay in Southern California this week. Fly down there either tonight or tomorrow. Do their training down there, then meet the Rams next week. But first things first, they're down by 14 with the ball at the 19-yard line. Hand off to Jay Ajayi to the 21. This is the team that comes in #1 in scoring offense, 31.9 points per game, and blowing teams out. 30 or more points in each of the last 5 games. Only other years leading the league would be all the way back in the 40s with Steve Van Buren. Quarterback Reese O'Neal is the coach. 2nd and 7. Play clock at 1. Look out. Sack. Justin Coleman comes in from the corner to take him down, and that will take us to the 4th quarter. End of 3, 17-3 Seattle. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. On a 3rd and 13, we come back to the 16-yard line. Only a 3-man rush this time, but pressure put on Wentz. They almost get him from behind. Slings it deep downfield, and it's caught by Aguilar. And Aguilar into Seattle territory. So Wentz on a 3-man rush under pressure from Quentin Jefferson, able to not only escape as Bennett holds his arm and comes off the field, but a 51-yard gain.
This is unbelievable. Watch this throw, falling down, getting tackled, and gets it about 45 yards down the field. I don't think that Byron Maxwell thought he could throw it that far from that position. And just, holy smokes, what a play.
104 yards now for Aguilar on 5 receptions. About half of Wentz's total tonight. At the 33, Wentz throws underneath, and that's close to a first down to the 23-yard line. Taken there by Hollins, the rookie, and we go back to that pass again.
Look at this, Al. He's going to the ground. He is in the grass and stumbling and almost has to sidearm this thing. I don't know exactly how far that went, about 45 yards, I would guess. But you want to make a highlight reel for Player of the Year or MVP, put that one on it.
Who says you need to use your legs? Ball to 23. 5 receivers all going out. Swinging to the outside, but nothing happening there. Bradley McDougald takes care of Jay Ajayi. 2nd and long.
You know, one of the interesting things about this offense, and we've talked about some of those run-pass options, RPOs, whatever the case may be, a lot of it came from Chip Kelly's offense. They've retained 3 of the guys that were on the coaching staff and basically expanded on some of those packages, so you have a bit of a blend of those 2 offenses.
2nd and 13. Corey Clement in the backfield. It's Brent Selleck coming into the slot. Clement to the outside. He's going to get wrestled down by Bobby Wagner, leading the team by a mile in tackles. 3rd and 14.
Watch when Bobby Wagner sees this draw right here. He probably had him in man coverage, saw him wait on the draw, and just exploded into that hole. This is pretty raw out here right now.
Michael Bennett comes back in, missed a couple of plays. Clement in the backfield. 3 receivers all set to the left side. Play clock at 1. They blitz. Wentz steps up, avoids it, throws to the end zone, caught. Aguilar for the touchdown. Over Maxwell again to make it a 1-possession game. What a night for Aguilar. 27 yards on what was a 3rd and 14.
Al, that was all pretty good, wasn't it? Those 2 throws, escaping the pressure, keeping his eyes up the field, and finding a little space down the field for Aguilar. Carson Wentz has been brilliant all year. On that drive, he took it to another level.
81 yards, 7 plays. Extra point by Elliott is good. So Philadelphia finally gets into the end zone. Took them 48 minutes. Check it out again. The deep throw downfield. And then the touchdown. 17-10. Tyler Lockett brings it back up to the 27-yard line. So Russell Wilson, otherworldly in the 4th quarter this season. 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. The pass rating is tremendous. The league rating is normally in the high 80s, so you can tell what that is. At almost 135 would be the highest rating since Joe Montana in 1989.
You know, and Russell Wilson took a huge shot at the end of that last drive when he peeled back and took one right in the chest. Let's see if he has any after effects.
Derek Barnett hit him hard. Starts here from the 27. And that's incomplete. Doug Baldwin.
You know, it's interesting. Pete Carroll was telling us the other day that almost too much of the focus of this offense has been on Russell Wilson. He wants him to be a little bit more of the point guard. And if he's the point guard, there's your shooting forward on the other side. But you know, Wilson is like a 4-5-5. He's a faster player than is Wentz, but Wentz has the size, the power, and the strength, and we saw all of that on that last drive.
Yeah, you're talking about almost a 7-inch difference between the two. It's 2nd down and 10. Wilson to the outside. It's caught by Davis there to the 30-yard line. He goes, and it will be 3rd down.
Well, that's one of the differences for me of this Philadelphia defense being so much improved. The tackling from the cornerback position, that has not always been a strength of the Philadelphia Eagles. You saw Jalen Mills come up and make a nice open field tackle. Boy, they need a play right now. Your offense is hot. If the Eagles defense can make a play here, feel pretty good.
So the Devil has sent in on the 3rd and 7. And the empty set. Wilson throws, caught, spinning behind to make the catch is Baldwin for a 1st down. Behind him, but Doug able to reach back, haul it in, and they convert on a 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, another traffic jam out here. You try and get a pick and then go over the top here with Baldwin. Just enough by Paul Richardson to get the Philadelphia Eagles running into each other, which would be the perfect pick. We have converted a lot of 3rd downs tonight.
From the 40-yard line. Look at the room. Picks up 1. That's Mike Davis. Seattle tonight on 3rd down is 5 out of 9.
And momentum is such a big thing in big games like this. And the Philadelphia Eagles, offensively, you're over there. You just can't wait to get back in the game. Your quarterback has a hot hand, and now you need your defense to make a stand. They just need to come up with something big.
Empty again as Wilson surveys on a 2nd down and 9. Pressure. Little whirly bird action, and the pass is incomplete. Try to get it to McKissick, but just escaping, avoiding the sack, and it's 3rd down and 9.
Remember Fran Tarkington? You can't help but think about Fran Tarkington, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, whatever you want to think about. But these poor defensive linemen that are used to just destroying quarterbacks, they're so good at getting pressure, but getting free and getting him on the ground is 2 different stories.
Just 1 sack tonight, a lot of pressure, a lot of spinning away. Another 3rd down here, 3rd and 9. 4-man rush. Wilson stepping up. He's going to run for it. He's going to flip the ball off to Mike Davis to the 35-yard line. Philadelphia is going to contend that it was a forward pass. Check it out again here. For the moment, it's ruled a backward pass.
It is It looked like it was at the very least right down the line. Let's see if we get any marks.
Oh, boy.
That's a little bit. That's close.
No, if I'm Philadelphia, I think
right
I've got
there
to challenge this.
At the 47-yard line, and where was it caught? Forward of that.
Well, it's going to be too late for a challenge here as soon as they snap it, and they do. And now you got a little trickery here as it goes back to Wilson, but the secondary is going to do its job, and then he just flings it out of bounds. So the Eagles defense did not get fooled. It's 2nd down. Back to the scramble we go again. Take a look.
Yeah, from the naked eye, it looks like the 47's where that ball is pitched, and it is caught well north of that at the 48. So
absolutely. I'm shocked that they didn't challenge it. Stunning. They would have won the challenge.
Absolutely.
2nd down and 10.
This is a show with these 2 quarterbacks out here.
Wilson again running for his life. Goes on the run, wide open, making the catch inside the 20-yard line. To the 14 goes Nick Vannett, the tight end. 21 yards to the Philly 14-yard line.
Nobody gets deeper on bootlegs than does Russell Wilson. And he is the ability to get all the way around the edge. Vinny Curry is not used to seeing a quarterback that far down the field. And as he gets more separation, the more opportunity he gets to be elusive. And it is so tough on those pass rushers.
McKissick in the backfield. Give it to him. 2nd down and long. Najee Good makes the tackle. Ticking down to 8 minutes to go in regulation in a 7-point game. Tell you what, one thing tonight too. Seattle was favored in 41 consecutive games. That's 5 years worth. Home games. 41 home games. They were a 1-point underdog to Atlanta, lost, and an underdog tonight. It's for the record.
That they were.
2nd and 11. Halfway through the quarter.
Man coverage for Jimmy Graham if they would like.
And Wilson's going to throw wide open. McKissick for the score. $15 yards and a touchdown, and they go 10 plays, 73 yards.
The plan was to put a cornerback or at least a safety all night long on the former college wide receiver J.D. McKissick. They got stuck. That time Michael Kendricks right there, a linebacker bit on the sluggo or slant and go route, and that was too easy. What a drive by Russell Wilson.
Blair Walsh for the extra point. So there's no challenge. They get away with this one. And down the field they go to lead by 14. So the Seahawks up by 2 touchdowns, 7:29 left in regulation. Breeze picking up a little bit here. Temperature in the low 40s. Blair Walsh descended down to Kenyon Barner. I'll go back after the kick and show you that toss again, which they were able to get away with no challenge. And Walsh's kick is a line drive fielded up at the 20-yard line by Selleck, and he gets tackled at the 30. So back we go to the pitch. It's very clear. There's the 47. That's when he releases the ball. It's taken by Davis at the 48. So if they had challenged and won, Davis adds another 15 yards after he makes that catch. It would have been a 5-yard penalty, so they would have been back 20 yards or back to about their own 42-yard line.
And it was 3rd down.
Right. So now it's at the 29-yard line. Philadelphia way out in front in most games, especially of late. And now they'll have to come from behind. Pressure from the 29. Hit as he throws is Wentz, but he completes it, and a flag comes down as Trey Burton, their number 3 tight end. He's number 2 right now with Ertz out of the game for a first down, but we'll see about Tony Correnti's call here.
Yeah, clearly a hold, I think, on the back end of this one. It's a good route by Trey Burton.
Pass interference, defense number 30. This penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
And that was a 14-yard pickup.
And
McDougald.
And one of the negative effects of what has happened with Zach Ertz out of the game, the Seahawks are not afraid to play man coverage. They're right up in their face right now. Opportunities are there. They're just going to have to win the one-on-one battles.
Wentz to the outside, not caught. Now Sean Jeffrey trying to backhand it. Maxwell covering. 2nd down and 10 with 7 minutes to go.
Hey, this is just on the outside. You're playing in the backyard, me against you, one-on-one. And Byron Maxwell, all he's doing is replacing Richard Sherman over there. Pretty good job tonight.
Over the middle. And he finds the open man at the 44-yard line. That's Burton again. So a couple of passes to Burton on this drive, and they're into Seattle territory at the 44-yard line.
Yeah, and they had Seattle back in a rare 2-deep zone. You don't see much of that out of this team.
Now they go more conventional defensively with 6.5 to play. And Wentz throws underneath. That's caught at the 41. Again, going to Burton. So Burton, who had barely played until Ertz went out, has not caught 3 on this drive. Wagner makes the stop, 2nd down and 6.
Well, Trey Burton has a couple of touchdowns, 11 for 111. So maybe he now is the man-to-man buster for this team. It's not like you're trying to fool anybody at this point. You know if it's one-on-one, you take whoever you want.
2nd and 6, low snap. Wentz hit as he throws, and that's a wobbly pass because he got jarred. His arm was jarred again. Going to his main man now, Burton. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, they're starting to bring a 5th rusher now instead of just their usual 4, and that's where they need to win against Vaitai at that left tackle position. That is going to have to be for the Philadelphia Eagles if they're going to make their way to the Super Bowl. That's the position that has to improve, and they have to help over time.
Big 3rd and 6. Wentz pressured. Gets away, throws on the run, out of bounds. It's 4th down. Aguilar, the intended receiver, but it's 4th down. Now you're down by 14. You got 5:48. With Peterson, 4th and 6.
Well, they've had 2 plays that's worked and been there for big plays tonight that they didn't hit. The crossing route across the field, back to the man coverage side, and that little sneak the back across the formation. They got bumped off the last time. Would they flip the formation and try either of those here?
And Wentz fumbled out of the end zone from the half-yard line. 4th and 6. Pressure again. Fires too high. Turn it over on downs. Try to hit Burton. Seattle gets the ball. 24-10 on Sunday Night Football. Jeff Lurie has owned the Eagles since the mid-90s. Paul Allen, longtime owner of the Seattle Seahawks. The 2 teams in combat tonight in Seattle, up by 14 on the 40-yard line. Trying to take some time off the clock. So, Chris, here's the question I have. You have a power ranking every week, right?
Yep.
So it's Philadelphia was ranked #1. So what happens tomorrow? New England's won 8 in a row. Pittsburgh's won 6 in a row. The Vikings have won 8 in a row. It's not going to be out of the AFC West. I know that, but what a race that is too now.
You know, the world champs are the world champs, and they've been winning pretty decisively. I think they would be #1 as far as I was concerned. After that, you know, you go to Pennsylvania, you go Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, but how can you ignore what they continue to do in Minnesota?
Oh, we can't.
I mean, it's just been remarkable.
2nd and 10. I mean, it's crazy. We got Doug Baldwin makes the catch here, and the clock keeps running. 3rd down. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you know, you lose Bradford, you lose the rookie running back. I mean, you got Case Keenum in there.
We've seen a run with a backup quarterback all the way to the Super Bowl and a world championship before, right? There's been a few occasions. And but boy, he's been a dream for a defensive. If a defensive coordinator could play quarterback, play it like Case Keenum. No mistakes, don't mess it up, and just continue to give your defense a chance to win.
3rd and 4. Wilson's going to get swallowed up at the 33-yard line. That's Barnett, the rookie, coming in for the sack. So it's 4th down. And Philly will get the ball back as the clock continues to run down to 4 minutes.
Yeah, pretty tough when these 2 guys are coming to one side. Jokel just unable to handle Graham that time, and Barnett got there about the same time. But it just hasn't mattered. It has been the Russell Wilson show tonight. Video game central so far.
4th down. John Ryan in for his 4th punt of the night. And milk the clock before the kick. Fair catch called for at the 21-yard line by Barner with 3:30 to go in regulation, and we're back in 30. Numbers for the quarterbacks tonight. Russell Wilson with 3 touchdowns. Wentz with 1. Wentz leading the league in touchdown passes. Each guy's been sacked a couple of times, been knocked down 5 times each. Both teams putting good pressure on. But now Philly needs 2 touchdowns, and they start from the 21-yard line. And there's pressure again, and there's another sack at the 14. Frank Clark comes barreling through.
All right, first you get the pressure on the outside, force Wentz to step up, and then his running mate, Frank Clark, on the other side with the inside move against Vaitai. And there's your issue.
2nd and 17. And that's caught at the 25-yard line. But Trey Burton is there, well short of the 1st down. He's already made 4 catches now in the last 2 drives.
Yeah, and it was the pressure by Bobby Wagner on that last 4th down that made the difference, and Wagner making another play there.
So 3rd down and 6. Two and a half to go. Philly with 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning and taking a ton of time here to get the play off. And Wentz deep downfield, and it's incomplete, but a flag because Torrey Smith got lassoed by Griffin. And that'll give him a 1st down off a 3rd and 6, well downfield.
So his head's back. They trip feet. I don't think that's a foul.
Well, let's see. Then we're going to discuss this. Feet tangled there.
There is no foul for defensive pass interference. The player's feet were tangled both playing the football. It will be an incomplete pass, 4th down.
Good consultation because one guy calls it one way and then the other guy comes in and says, I have a better angle on it.
They miss a few, but for the most part, you have to say pretty amazing all that they do pick up.
Sherman. So instead of what would have been a big-time game deep downfield, it's a 4th down and 6. And this will just about write a finish to it if they don't convert. Wentz flips it out here, and they're going to get the 1st down and more. Clement out of bounds at midfield. So they pick up the 1st down there. Clock shows 2:10. And that pass is good for 23 yards.
Yeah, in much the same way that they caught him, instead of trying to block all the rushers, you just send the back out on a free release. It was the same thing when they brought him across the formation last time, but they didn't hit it. This time they do.
Wentz has now thrown for 314 yards in the game, completing 67% of his throws. 3 receivers set to the right. They break that now as Sutter comes in the slot to block. And Wentz rolls away. He's going to air it out again, deep downfield into double coverage and picked off by Maxwell. Byron Maxwell, they burned him a couple of times tonight, but he has the final answer. Takes us to the 2-minute warning. Seattle up 24-10.
This defense made a statement tonight for Seattle, didn't they?
Oh yeah, against the #1 offense in the league.
Yes, sir.
Pulled in the 1 touchdown and the field goal. Now you got Mike Davis up to the 24-yard line. Philly can stop the clock twice. They do it here.
Well, if you're going to win a game against the #1 seed thus far, you've got you need a video game guy or the Russell Wilson escape. Sounds like something that maybe Microsoft could do. Why not? Got the right guy sitting in the owner's box, and it has just been a show tonight. Pretty incredible. You just have to wonder, where would this team, where would this offense be without Russell Wilson, who just is such a huge part of it. 78% of their offense tonight, and that's probably a little low for what he's done in several games this year. Remarkable performance. And how do you defend that? I don't know. I mean, this is a great defense. They did a nice job against the run. They just could not get that guy on the ground.
2nd down and 6 from the 24-yard line. Mike Davis stopped there. 3rd down. Timeout taken again by Philadelphia. We'll go out and play Ms. Pac-Man after the game. What do you think? MVP candidates. It's a 3-horse race. I mean, you got Wentz, obviously. Phenomenal numbers coming in. Tom Brady every year. It probably works against him. And now Russell Wilson clearly in that picture as well. So those would be your 3 primary candidates.
Yeah, they missed a throw, did Philadelphia early on that deep over route. They fumbled the football down going into the end zone. It's just been big mistakes tonight and not challenging the call. You know, it's what's your guy Howard say?
Howard Cosell made a career out of saying missed opportunity.
That's it. That's what it was
the difference
tonight.
in the game.
But now the entire NFC is up for grabs. This was a big night.
Davis, Philly cannot stop the clock. So by the time they run the next play, we're down to about a minute.
How about that guy?
To go.
Pretty good night tonight, wasn't it?
He gets overlooked a lot because
I
there's so many big names on that defense.
I totally agree with you. And I'll tell you another thing. You come into this game and you don't have Cam Chancellor and you don't have Richard Sherman, and you go, oh boy, this is going to be a problem against this high-scoring offense. And yet we have seen really top-end play on the back end. It was mostly man coverage tonight, and they did a job on the wide receivers of the Philadelphia Eagles. We didn't see Alshon Jeffrey go off on them. We saw Nelson Aguilar make a play or two. Torrey Smith. I mean, they did not win those battles down the field against this young Byron Maxwell, Justin Coleman, Bradley McDougall made plays, Shaquille Griffin. They made plays tonight.
And they're going to win the games. Just update the playoff picture now. NFC side, Minnesota and Philadelphia each 10-2. Rams and New Orleans. Seattle would be the wild card, along with Carolina, each 8-4. The other guys are in the hunt. And I hate to tell the Philly fans, but if the season ended tonight, you'd get down to like the fourth tiebreaker, strength of opposition. Minnesota would be the #1 seed.
Well, and would scare people to death from the standpoint they would then have a chance to go home game, Super Bowl home game, which would be tough.
The 35-yard line, making the grab is Barner, and he gets taken down immediately with 57 seconds.
And I love a saying that Chris Richard has, the defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. You have to take the land from the man. Take the land from the man in front of you. If you're going across the line of scrimmage, we win. If you're going backwards away from the line of scrimmage, they win. Tonight, Seattle took the land from the man.
That may be an original. I've never heard that before.
I've never heard it either.
Most of the stuff we heard is stolen from somebody, but that could be all Richard. We'll give it to him. Wentz throws over the middle, caught. It's Aguilar having a big night on the stat sheet. 7 catches for 141.
I'll tell you, a player they really miss is Darren Sproles. Can you imagine this offense with that man-to-man beater coming out of the backfield? They don't have a replacement for him.
Oh, they had to reconstruct that backfield with, and that's why they got Ajayi, Blunt, Clement's been pretty good, and Wendell Smallwood for a while, but you're right, Sproles can do so many things that are very different. So Doug Peterson and company going to Southern California. They'll work out and practice there all week and then take on the Rams in the LA Coliseum next Sunday afternoon. 2nd down and 10. Wentz flings it to the outside. And then getting out of the bounds and paying the price as well there was Clement. And he was able to get out of bounds to stop the clock with 27 seconds.
You know, and I think even Pete Carroll would tell you this was a relatively close game. You know, you take away the fumble, you take away the missed throws, you take away some of the crazy things that Russell Wilson was able to do tonight. But this is probably one, and we talked about it in the opening on camera, this may have been one of those moments, playoff-like moments, that this team needed. You know, they needed to be in this kind of environment and coming on the road and just sense what this is all about, because the Seahawks, they've been here before.
Jeffrey makes the catch. No timeout, so it's going to take us probably to the end of the game here. And Wentz will fling one toward the end zone, batted away. It's incomplete. And the Seattle Seahawks withstanding the losses of 2/3 of the Legion of Boom. Russell Wilson continues to have just another spectacular year. The two guys right there in your MVP picture clearly.